The Crithian ambassador's entourage had warned her. They'd warned her a dozen times in a dozen different ways. Humans are prey species, Vexthor had said, his obsidian claws clicking against the transport's metal floor. Your biology proves it. Forward-facing eyes notwithstanding. You lack natural weapons, your reaction time is poor, and your fragile bodies break so easily. Sarah Chen had only smiled. That strange human smile and continued organizing the educational materials for the Cubs' sanctuary visit. The Crithians were apex, predators from a death world where only the strong survive to adolescence. Standing 8 feet tall with armor-plated skin and retractable claws that could shred plasteel, they were the galaxy's most formidable warriors. Their elite guard, the Crimson Talons, were legendary, unstoppable, undefeated, which made what happened on Station Theta 7 all the more incomprehensible. Sarah had volunteered for the Human Crithian Cultural Exchange Program, working as a teacher for the young Cubs whose parents served in the Galactic Coalition. The Cubs were still dangerous by human standards. 300 pounds of muscle, fang and instinct, but Sarah treated them with the same gentle patience she'd shown in her kindergarten classroom back on Earth. The insurgents struck during a field trip to the station's agricultural dome. The Syndicate of Free Worlds had planted operatives months earlier, waiting for the perfect moment to strike at coalition leadership. What better way than to take hostages from the most powerful military species in known space? 6 armed militants materialized from the crowd, weapons trained on the group of 12 Crithian cubs, aged 4 to 7 years old. In Crithian terms, barely past infancy. Nobody move. The lead insurgent barked through a translator. These cubs are now prisoners of... Sarah moved, not away from the danger, but toward it. Between the weapons and the cubs, the Crithian adults froze, confused by the suicidal behavior. Vexthor's combat computer couldn't calculate the logic. Prey species fled danger. They didn't charge into it. The elite guard was still 20 seconds away, racing through the station corridors after the alarm was triggered. 20 seconds might as well have been an eternity. Run, babies. Sarah's voice cut through the confusion as she spread her arms wide, making herself as large as possible. A tiny human barrier between assault rifles and children. Go now! Her teacher voice, the one that compelled obedience through sheer authority, cut through the cubs' fear. They scattered. The insurgents opened fire. The first 3 rounds hit Sarah in the chest, spinning her around. The 4th caught her shoulder. She went down hard but immediately began crawling, still trying to put herself between the shooters and the fleeing cubs. Blood spread across the white dome floor in an expanding pool. Target the cubs, the lead insurgent screamed, adjusting his aim. Sarah's hand shot out and grabbed his ankle with a grip that shouldn't have been possible for someone with 3 holes in their chest. The insurgent looked down in shock at the dying human clinging to him, pulling herself forward even as her life drained away. No, she whispered through blood-flecked lips. You don't touch my kids. Her other hand found the plasma torch clipped to her belt, a teacher's tool for science demonstrations. She triggered it. The insurgent's scream lasted 3 seconds before Vexthor's claws removed his head from his shoulders. The elite guard had arrived, moving through the militants like a hurricane of rage and retribution. The firefight lasted 8 seconds. No prisoners were taken, but they were too late. Commander Zarvesh, leader of the Crimson Talons, dropped to his knees beside Sarah's broken body. His medical scanner told him what his eyes already knew. Too much damage. Humans were so fragile. Why? His translator barely conveyed the anguish in his voice. You had no chance. Your role was to teach, not to... My kids, Sarah interrupted, her voice barely a whisper. Blood bubbled at the corner of her mouth. Are they safe? All 12 cubs survived. Because of you. Sarah's smile was terrible and beautiful, a human expression the Crithians would spend years trying to understand. Good, that's good, her eyes closed. The medical scanner flatlined. The memorial service was attended by every Crithian family on the station. The cubs, too young to fully comprehend death, knew only that teacher Sarah had protected them. They laid drawings and flowers by her image, human customs they'd learned from her, but it was the Crimson Talons who truly mourned. We failed her, Zarvesh said, staring at Sarah's photograph. Forward-facing eyes that held no fear, a small frame that contained more courage than entire battalions. We were her protection detail. We arrived too late. Sir, one of his warriors ventured. She was prey species. She wasn't supposed to prey? Zarvesh's roar silenced the dome. We are the predators. We are the apex warriors of this galaxy. And yet when death came for those cubs, it wasn't our claws that stood in the breach. It was a 100-pound human teacher with no natural weapons except her will. He looked at his elite warriors, the finest the Crithian race could produce. Each one had frozen for crucial seconds, their combat algorithms failing to predict the impossible, a prey species attacking to defend them. We call ourselves Elite Guard, Zarvesh continued, his voice breaking. We pride ourselves on our warrior culture, our predator heritage. And yet a human showed us what true protection means. She didn't calculate survival odds. She didn't wait for backup. She simply acted because that's what guardians do. The Crimson Talons stood in silence, each warrior bearing the unbearable weight of their failure. From that day forward, every member of the Elite Guard wore a small red ribbon on their armor, human red, the color of Sarah Chen's blood spilled in defense of Crithian young. It became their most sacred tradition, passed down through generations, and when new recruits asked about the ribbon, they were told the story of Teacher Sarah, how a prey species taught predators the true meaning of courage, how the Elite Guard had arrived too late, how they would never forgive themselves, how they would never forget. The galaxy had learned something that day. Humans weren't prey because they were weak. They were dangerous precisely because they were fragile, and chose to fight anyway.